Barcelona versus Real Madrid, El Clásico, the final El Clásico of the season. And I cannot stress how important this one is. There's so much on the line. There's so much to fight for. Every team has a bunch of reasons on why they need this win. It's a big game. It's a very big game. Madrid need this win to close the gap to 1 point in the league. And if they can close it down to 1 point, they just got to rely on Barcelona to break, to tie, to lose a game in the next 3 games, which is very likely, if Barcelona lose this game today. Because Barcelona can easily get a mental block, again, and then drop a point against Villarreal or against Bilbao. So we cannot lose this game at all. Because on the other hand, Barcelona, if we win this game, we're 7 points clear. And in my opinion, I have not said this at all this whole season, but if we get 7 points clear, if we beat Madrid tomorrow, and we get 7 points clear, that's where I officially say the league is over and Barcelona has won it. Obviously, statistically, with the numbers, they haven't, right? But I think with 3 games remaining with a 7 point gap, that means Barca would have to win a single game to be crowned champions, right? Remember that. And we have Villarreal, we have Athletic Bilbao, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to think of the game. Espanyol. I don't know why I didn't. Espanyol is gonna be a tough game. It's gonna be a derby, and then we got Villarreal, and then we got Bilbao. All tough games. But if we beat Madrid today, if we get this tougher game out of the way, we have so much off our shoulders. So, just to know how important this game is, let's get straight into it. I have a lot to get through, but to start it off, I want to tell you my lineup that I'm thinking Barcelona will go to war with tomorrow. Most of the lineup is going to be very easy to predict. There's 2 or 3 spots that I'm thinking like it could be him or it could be him, and that's going to be at left back and at striker. Right back, not too much. We know Koundé's still injured. It's definitely going to be Eric Garcia. So let's start it from the bottom. I'm going with Chesney in goal, and then the back line. What I'm thinking is going to be Eric Garcia, Kubarsi, Inigo Martinez, and then based on what Hansi Flick said, I'm going with Gerard Martin. He did come on a press conference, and they were asking him, hey, well, what about Balde and Lewandowski? Lewandowski just played, by the way, so the answer I expected was different. But what Hansi Flick said is, no, I don't think so. They're still coming off an injury. And he kind of wants to keep the same lineup, so that's what I think he's gonna do. So we're gonna with Gerard Martin, and then when we go up, we're gonna have Pedri and De Jong. I think you can't remove them. I know Casado's back, but he might come in as a sub. But we got these players. We got to run with these players. Then we got Yamal, Olmo, Rafinha, and then I'm going with Ferran Torres because, like I said, Lewandowski is still recovering. We're going to use Ferran Torres. I'm pretty positive about that unless Hansi Flick decides to change it last minute. He said he's going to give these injury returns a little bit of a break, and I can see them getting subbed in, 50th, 60th minute, maybe 70th if we're up. I never do this, but I'm going to tell you my Real Madrid lineup prediction. They're probably going to announce it in 1 hour, then games in 14 hours. I had it on a little piece of paper. I know Courtois is going to be in goal. That's, obvious, right? But when it comes to the back line, they're having a lot of issues. A lot of players are out for the rest of the season. Rudiger, Alaba, I think Camavinga. So they have very limited to no options. So I'm pretty positive that their back line is going to be Lucas Vasquez, who is going to be matched up with Rafinha. We'll get to that in a minute. And then we got Raul Asensio and Chouameni. Very solid players. They're both very good. I'm so, like, as a Barca fan, I'm very proud of how Raul Asensio has been. This guy is a Ramos region. He's a beast, right? Don't let any other Barca fan lie to you and bias and tell you that he's not a good player. He's a beast. Spain's going to have him and Kubarsi eventually. Chef's kiss. But at left back, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Fran Garcia. Like I said, Mendy's out, Camavinga's out. It has to be him, right? There's nobody else that can play that position unless you want to bring up someone or maybe put in Vallejo as at left back. But you're not gonna do that. It's gonna be Fran Garcia. I don't know exactly how it's gonna be for the sake of the lineup. I'm gonna go with this diamond formation, the 4-1-2-1-2. I only know that because of FIFA, by the way. But in the midfield, with this midfield diamond, I'm going with Ceballos at the DM, and let me tell you this right now, I'm a Ceballos Glazer. This guy's a beast. I love him. Ever since I've watched him this whole season, like I've known of him, but when I was watching him and he was starting, you know, after they kind of went through a few months of like figuring out what to do without Tony Cruz, this guy's a baller. This guy, obviously not Cruz level, but what he can do, that's what they need. So him starting is gonna be very important for them. And the fact that they're gonna have these four midfielders is kind of a big like for Barcelona. We have to dominate the ball. But let me finish this. It's gonna be Ceballos. It's gonna be Jude Bellingham, Valverde, and at Cam is gonna be Arda Güler. Some people are debating, is it gonna be Rodrigo? Is it gonna be Arda Güler? It's gonna be Arda Güler for sure. I don't think if he drops him, you know, this guy should be sacked mid game because this kind of been the problem all season where Ancelotti's making these or not making these decisions. I would say where he's scared to manage the players' egos. He's scared to put his foot down with the big players. But I think he will do the right thing tomorrow. I think he's gonna start Arda Güler at Cam, and then true striker is gonna be Vinny and Mbappe. It's super fast. We're gonna have to be careful with the high line. Trust me, no team is going to give us damage like tomorrow Madrid. I promise you. If you think Inter was very scary, they were just smart. Madrid, they can be smart, but they got raw pace, raw talent right there as strikers. So we got to watch out. It's going to be very, very scary. It's gonna be very high scoring. I'm warning you right now. Aside from that midfield, I told you that's gonna be such an amazing battle to see. It's going to be such an amazing battle to see because now Madrid have four midfielders. So let me get this straight. Barca dominated their midfield 3 games in a row. That's no questions asked. But now throwing in Arda Güler, a guy that can handle the ball, it's a big plus for them. So now we're gonna have to be even smarter and maybe even include Danny Olmo into the midfield more and be like a little bit deeper to kind of control this game. And that's gonna happen. Trust me. And if it's not Danny Olmo, it's going to be Rafinha or Yamal. We know that at times Yamal and Rafinha like to kind of squeeze in and kind of take the ball throughout the middle. And then that way, maybe Danny Olmo goes out wide or Danny Olmo goes up high or Pedri, kind of drops deep. Just kind of have the spaces filled. But overall, we're going to have to be on our this game because the midfield is going to be way better from Madrid than prior games other than the midfield, like I was saying. The fullbacks and wingers, that's going to be the key today. Not today, tomorrow. The key. Yamal versus Fran Garcia, that's a mismatch. Rafinha versus Lucas Vasquez, that's a mixed match. Like these guys are supposed to cook these guys. But when you look the other way around, Vinny and Mbappe against Eric Garcia and Martin, same thing applies. These guys are supposed to cook them. I've been seeing a lot from Martin. He's a baller. Don't let anyone tell you that he can't even start from the Barcelona B. False. He's been improving, and you have to give him credit where the credit is due. For Eric Garcia, this guy's a baller. This season, he woke up different. This season, he's been phenomenal. I know that game he missed open sitter that would have probably taken to the Champions League final, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I forgive him. I forgive him. People don't want to forgive Dembele. I forgive Dembele. I forgive Eric Garcia. That goal right there would have made us to the final. But the bigger picture is he's a real baller. Defensively, I'm not gonna lie to you. Out of everything, defensive is probably his like weakest thing. But this guy is like a Sergio Roberto. He can play anywhere. He can score. He can pass. He can defend. Better than Sergio Roberto. But the mismatch is there. He's gonna be going up against Vinny most likely. And pause. There's a chance that Hansi Flick puts in a Rajo at right back simply because the matchup issue. He's locked down Vinny before. He was kind of our anti Vinny for the past 2 or 3 seasons. So it could be a surprise. Just remember that. But after last game, I do think he's going to be Eric Garcia. You know, my bad. But overall, Eric Garcia and Martin, they have to watch out. Same way that Vasquez and Fran Garcia have to watch out. It's going to be, I just noticed, it's going to be Fran Garcia versus Eric Garcia. We're going to have two Garcias on the same wing. And the most important matchup, I'm going to call it out right now, is going to be whoever striker for us, Ferran Torres or Lewandowski. I'm assuming it's going to be Ferran Torres. That matchup was Chouameni. Chouameni is a physical player. Remember, he's not a center back. Ferran Torres is gonna have to be making these diagonal runs that only Rafinha and Yamal can find them. That Pedri can find them. He has to make those runs. Chouameni and Raul will be out of position. The high line will kind of force them out. The tiki taka, the passing all run, it will force them out. We just have to find those passes, and trust me, when we find those passes, we will be good. We will be fine. We just gotta find those passes. We gotta make the runs. Like I said, these matchups are gonna be insane. There's gonna be a a player to watch in every position tomorrow. It feels like because it's gonna be so good. The like both teams having a little bit of weaker defense than usual. is gonna be a big thing. So like I said, just look out for that. Clench the butt cheeks if you have to when you see Vinny against Martin or Vinny against Garcia or Mbappe against Martin, bro. Like, finally, my score prediction. I've let me tell you, I've been going back and forth. First, I want to show you the predictions that I've gotten from my friends and families. All of these predictions, all of these. We got some mixed ones. I got some honest Madrid fans that also think Barca's gonna win. My cousin Angel, but yeah, like I said, it's pretty consistent how people think this game's gonna go, and I'm not gonna break that trend. I'm going Barcelona, but I'm going Barcelona 4-2. I do think it's gonna be very high scoring. Honorable mention to 4-3 because I do think that this is gonna be over 5 goals in this game, over 6 goals. Speaking of over 6 goals, over 5 goals, let me tell you the bet. Hold on. Yeah, 4-2 is my final prediction. I do think that Barcelona are going to score a lot of goals. I do think Madrid are going to score as well a lot, 2 goals, and they might even score it first. Like it's going to be very intense. These goals might even come very early or very late, but I do think they will be there. This game has a lot on the line. You know how Barcelona are this season when they got games on the line. And when Madrid, they're kind of the opposite. They've been struggling, but I don't doubt that Madrid is going to bring their best level when they play against Barcelona tomorrow. Barcelona 4, Real Madrid 2. Final prediction. And then for my bet of the day, the bet for this game is going to be a very interesting bet. And I know it's going to seem crazy, but just know that for one thing to hit, I need the other two ones to hit. They kind of correlate with each other. So don't say it's a crazy bet, right? First of all, I'm going Barcelona money line. Obviously, I think the game's going to be 4-2. If I'm going off of my prediction, this might match my prediction. And since I'm going with 4-2 to Barcelona, I'm also going to add over 3.5 goals, which means there will be a minimum of 4 goals in this game. I do think so. My prediction has 6 goals. Just follow this trend. And I do think it's going to be over 9.5 corners. 10 corners in a game isn't crazy. If it wasn't Real Madrid, it would be crazy because on average, Barca can drop corners like crazy, or they can hold possession and be so perfect that and this they can't afford any shots that go up. It just doesn't happen. But I'm going over 9.5. I think in the Clásicos it happens very frequently. I'd say they average around 10, 11, 12, but I'm going over 9.5. And then to top it off, this one is kind of the frosting on the cake. I'm going with Lamine Yamal to score a goal. If Barca score 4 goals in one game, I think Yamal is going to be one of the goals. I really think so. So like I said, if you think Barca score 4 goals and Yamal does not get on the score sheet, especially in El Clásico, especially how he's been playing recently, you're tripping. Yamal to score, that's the slip. Put however much you want it, and let's go. Visca Barca.